Welcome everyone. Welcome back to the monthly Glitch AMA. My name is Rebecca and I'm the Senior Community Manager at Glitch. Thank you to everyone for attending today, and I'm excited to be joined by our CEO Sean, CTO Diego, Marketing Manager Aram, and me. Today's AMA is all about our vision for 2023 and how Glitch aims to evolve and grow in the next year. We'll be discussing development updates, upcoming milestones, and future marketing plans. So please drop any questions you may have in the chat below, and we'll try to answer as many as we can towards the end of the session. We're excited to kick off the new year by welcoming back Sean to our panel. He's been working really hard behind the scenes. Hey,
yes,
and I know the community, and the community's been eagerly awaiting your return to an AMA. So welcome. This month's session promises to be an exciting one. Yeah, we're happy to have you. So let's get started. I'll start by passing the floor over to Sean to give us some insights into Glitch's future and what's coming this year. Sean?
Yeah, well, 2023 is a year for us, guys. So super excited. Really a big year ahead. But I'm going to start off with reflecting on 2021, 2022 and the journey so far. So a lot has happened, a lot of lessons learned, and a lot of ups and downs in the market itself, which tend to reflect onto your smaller market projects like ourselves, smaller market cap. But very happy to be here. I know there's a lot of questions around will Glitch be around, and we're still here. We're still going strong. But yeah, 2023. So recently we've had a little bit of a restructure, which was quite exciting, given the fact that we had quite a medium-sized team for where we are at. But now we've got more of a purposeful team, I like to call it. Rebecca, Aram, Diego, pivotal to the team. Sorry, guys, it's quite late here for me in Singapore, and quite dehydrated, and I'm coming off some sickness, so you have to excuse me. But we've got a purposeful team. Aram's doing a fantastic job. Diego likewise, and Beck also. This year, 2023. Let's get into it. So phase 4 will be delivered this year. Exciting times ahead. Diego's going to really get into phase 4, what it means, what it looks like, etc. We've constantly kept the roadmap updated, so everyone can keep track of everything on the roadmap. So yeah, Diego will get into a little bit more detail in his time. So yeah, phase 4 this year. Just in case no one heard it, phase 4 this year will be delivered.
Yeah, that's super exciting. And yeah, as you said, the roadmap will continue to be updating that so everyone can actively track where we're at in terms of development. But what's something that you're most excited for part of phase 4, Sean?
Not just phase 4, but really what phase 4 is going to allow us to take the next steps in our goals, which I'm going to jump straight into what that's going to allow us to do. And again, Aaron will probably talk a little bit more about this in his time, but the GEX, something that everyone's been waiting for. We've done a lot of work on the background in ideating the GEX, and what we really wanted to do was create a world first. So the GEX, I'm going to just jump into it. The GEX will be, and mark our words, will be the first truly decentralized exchange in the world. So a lot of people see, they see the likes of PancakeSwap, Uniswap, etc., and multiple other DEXs that are out there, and they see DEX and they think that, okay, this is decentralized. But in hindsight, if you really take a deep dive into their structures, how they operate, not one DEX is truly decentralized. So that was really pivotal to our, I guess if we really reflect on Glitch's ideologies and what we stand for, and it is that, true decentralization, which we will get to, we wanted to really kick off the GEX truly decentralized. And we've developed, we've ideated ways in order to achieve that, which I'm really looking forward to bringing to not just glitch holders, but really the world. I think that people are really going to get excited and on board, and it's really going to benefit glitch long term. But decentralization is something that's getting really lost in crypto and blockchain, in my opinion. And I really want to bring it back with the GEX and have a big focus on it. So what happens when a lot of projects...
And can you tell us a bit more about how?
Yeah, okay. So basically what happens when a project kicks off is, the people who are behind it want to maintain as much control as possible, because, everyone has these big, great, fantastic ideas, and they don't want to give it away too early. So they try to maintain as much control as possible, which ultimately keeps it centralized. We're going to change that from day one. So we're going to have an appointed chairman that's appointed by the community. I believe myself, Diego, and Aaron will be board members just to get going. But there will even be a treasury manager. So we won't actually hold the tokens. The tokens will be held by and appointed by the community treasury manager. So there'll be a multi-sig in order to do any transaction for marketing, for hosting, etc. And then on that hosting, the hosting will be, we're going to try to move away from the AWS. It may be AWS to begin with, but it'll be up to the community. But that everything will be decided by the community. So I think that is very much undervalued in our industry. And with everything that goes on, these rug pulls, these projects that fail, I think people really forget how much work is going into it behind the scenes. And then obviously they've got to deal with all the FUD and everything on which we've had our fair share of. But if the community are in control, not just in control, but involved from day one, I can't see how a truly decentralized product would not succeed. And I think one of the biggest failures that we make in this industry is trying to have and hold on to too much control. So if you've truly got the community as champions, it's evident with certain projects which really are just forks, or not that great of a product, but they've got a great community behind them, and hence why they're succeeding. So I'll leave that there, because I'm sure that you've got all your notes, Aaron, on the discussion you want to have around the GEX. So I won't get too much further into it. But yeah, super excited for the GEX, and obviously, revenue sharing back to phase 4. I cannot wait for that to be released, and obviously that's pivotal to the GEX itself. But super excited about that. Sorry, I just looking through my notes, guys. And finally, one of the other things I'm super excited about is the Launchpad. So this is probably the first anyone's really heard about it. But since our separation from our partner Launchpad, I with a private partner, complete separate team to the Glitch team, was ideating and started to build a Launchpad, which is completely EVM compatible and will be released on the Glitch network. But we're actually not far off being ready to completely release now. And in order to facilitate the GEX's raise, which we'll get into further, if you hold Glitch, you will be rewarded. I've decided to actually release this Launchpad sooner rather than later. It's a world first, again, getting truly back to decentralization and allowing the community to actually dictate the price of a project. So too often I find that projects are raising not enough, or what they think they can. But I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if a community could decide what a project is worth? So I've developed a system where a project can come and do a traditional raise still. Yes, that's definitely possible. But a platform where they can say, we would like to raise anywhere between 400,000 and 800,000, or 4 million and 8 million. and it actually allows the community to come in and let's say there may be 10 rounds, for example, where you're able to, the project, if it's releasing 10 million tokens, 1 million tokens are available each day. And if, say, Diego put a bid in for $1,000, at the point he puts the first bid in, he's actually entitled to that million tokens. But then Aaron puts in a $1,000 bid. So now the 500,000 tokens each, obviously 1 million, and it's split. So eventually what happens is the community actually end up dictating what the value of the project is and what they believe the project is worth. So it's quite interesting. That's not far off being ready and released. But yeah, I'm super excited about what that could possibly mean to the industry, and obviously attracting more projects to the Glitch ecosystem. So 2023 is going to be a super year for us. Really excited about the GEX. I mean, once phase 4 is all done, the GEX will be out and in full steam ahead, and I'm super excited about that. And I really hope that the industry adopts this new ideology in launches, and that can just complement the Glitch ecosystem also. So yeah, moving forward, 2023, lot to do, lot to get through, but I feel like we're very much on track, and I'm happy with where we're at. I think the team's done a fantastic job, and hats off to all you guys. And I think that the team's very much underappreciated by the community at times. Constantly, asked the same question 100 times over. The answer doesn't change, but it's part of managing a community. But yeah, guys, I want to say publicly, just so everyone knows, I really appreciate all the work you guys put in, and you're doing a fantastic job, and I really appreciate your efforts, and I know the community will by the end of 2023 also. That's not to say all the community don't appreciate, but yeah, you guys all know what I mean. I'm sure the community do too if they're up to date with our socials. Speaking of community, for those of you that have supported and been patient, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I know I don't jump in the community as much as you guys expect, but there is a lot to do when you're running an organization like Glitch, and that's what we are, guys. We're not a project, a small project trying to tap along at things. We're an organization, and we run the company accordingly. And there is a lot to do, and you see the guys that have that business background and acumen in the group, which appreciate that. And I wish there was ways we could show you how complex just running the organization is, let alone what Diego's doing, let alone what marketing's doing. And that's where you guys are fantastic. And I really hope that the broader community start to realize that we've got champions of their verticals here. And guys, you're fantastic. The community, we love you. Even the ones that are negative sometimes, I still love you. You're still participating. So but yeah, to all the supporters, really appreciate your support, and I'm very sure that you're going to be duly rewarded in the year of 2023.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, there's lots to look forward to here. The GEX, can't wait to see what comes from that. And yeah, speaking of developments and things to look forward to, Diego, have you got some tech updates for us and upcoming milestones? What can we look forward to in the terms of development?
Yeah, sure. So we are working hard. One of the first things in which we are focusing over the last months, it's something internal. So you won't see directly, but it's internal. It's a key piece of the infrastructure work that we're doing, which is to make sure that our core blockchain is compatible with Polkadot. We call it the merge. So it's an internal merge that we are doing with the latest code base from the master blockchain that we are leveraging, which is the Polkadot team. And that when we started to do that, we started to see some improvement that we need to do. So that's a good thing. But now we are almost ready to deliver. It's internal, so the community is not going to see it, but we need to do a lot of work behind the scenes, like testing and making sure we do the regression tests and everything, to have a very robust blockchain that not only works today, but is able to be future proof. So we will be able to make sure that we get the relevant updates from the master project and the Polkadot one. So then we are sure that we can evolve as the need arises over the next years. So that's the first thing.
So just to jump in on that, understanding the importance of that is critical here. So we are not a fork of Polkadot, but as Polkadot evolve and then being, the large scale project that they are, they're going to have updates and improvements which we can then further leverage.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Sean, for the clarification. So maybe I wasn't clear. The important aspect here, blockchain is an open space. So the most important aspect, or the right philosophy here for us or for any project whatsoever, is to make sure that we can leverage the best of everything that is out there. So we don't have all the knowledge. We will never have, no team, no closed system or closed team is ever going to have all the relevant updates or all the relevant innovations, but we need to be open to make sure that we can leverage whatever it's out there that we could leverage. It doesn't mean that we will, it just means that we are open to do that. So then we can see how it fits in our philosophy and in our roadmap for the future. So that's
absolutely. And that's one of the reasons that we're utilizing Substrate as well, isn't it? Because of the flexibility and the ability to upgrade the network in the way that means the longevity of Glitch is the best that it can be.
Yes, that is correct. It's very modular and it's very, I wouldn't say easy, but the way it's structured from the engineering perspective, it's in different modules that you can update one independent of the other. So not breaking the whole system when you do some small update in one of the features. So that's what takes me to the next aspect, which is the revenue sharing. So we are working hard also. So the second feature that we are working hard is on the revenue sharing, which requires the native contract. So there's another feature that is going to support the revenue sharing, which is the native contracts, and that's something so that we can run natively. So that means not using the EVM, although the EVM contracts will always be, this blockchain will always be supporting EVM compatible smart contracts, but native contracts, it's far more efficient and it's a better way to evolve the system. So that's something that we are progressing very well on the native contracts and the revenue sharing. And then we are mostly for the GEX. We are mostly, there are a lot of different moving pieces for the GEX that we are in like a kind of initial research and proof of concept to make sure that we are going to be as decentralized as possible as the technology allows it. So this is a new field, decentralized. To be able to have a complete 100% decentralized system is very hard in technical terms. And I'm not talking about the social implications of who is going to take control and how you make sure that no one party or group of people or group of stakeholders take hostage another group of people. If you've been in the space for the last 5 years, you've seen what happened with the block size wars in Bitcoin. So that's something that it's going to happen whenever you have 2 or 3 guys out there. Power is going to be there. The power struggles are going to be there, and as the saying goes, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So that's why decentralization is the only way that we human beings and we as a blockchain are going to be able to move forward. But I'm going through the social aspect, which is it's also a challenge, but I'm not focused on that right now. I mean, that's a challenge that we as a community, and when I say we, I'm not talking about the five guys that you see here. We, the whole community, is going to be challenged and to come with different ways in how to solve that. But in order to do that, I need to make sure that I provide the right technical tools, like voting, how the voting is going to work, so that when you vote for proposals for the blockchain, that voting is not, you are not able to corrupt that process, and that's where the infrastructure comes in place, and that's where a truly decentralized system is the only one that long term is going to be able to not only be rewarded by the marketplace, which is like the short term that we're looking for, but on the long term, to be sure that it evolves and it survives. Look at FTX. I mean, these guys were like, I don't know, $20 billion. I don't know how the FTX marketplace, this guy, I mean, this crook, Sam Bankman-Fried, he ran away with, I don't know how many billions. So the marketplace rewarded short term, but long term there was nothing there. So that's why that happened, because it was centralized. Period. So if it's centralized, it's going to be evil, short term, mid term, or long term. So the only way to make sure that something is going to work forever is to be decentralized. Period. There is no other way. Like human beings, we are free. So the free will of each one of us, which means we are decentralized, is going to needs to be. We need to create that analogy in all the systems and all the governance models that we are developing. So
and guys,
yeah, but
just on that, just with how Diego has actually presented, this is why Diego is our CTO. His vision, his opinions, his ideologies are in line with what Glitch is and what Glitch stands for. And I think that the more education that we can start putting out around democratization, decentralization, and what that actually truly means to this industry is going to benefit the community, not just our community, but the industry as a whole. And we get really lost with all this centralization that's going on around us. And but if we really look at the big rug pulls, scams, and people that have really destroyed big projects, they're all centralized projects. So, and that's, we just really need to understand what's happening here. We're pushing as an industry. There's a big piece of this industry pushing for centralization. Yet centralization, I mean, can we not see it with the housing crisis in America? Go and watch The Big Short. Centralization, we've been a mess since World War One. I mean, if anyone's read The Bitcoin Standard, a great read, highly recommend it. If anyone wants a copy, please let me know. I'd be happy to buy a few, and hand them around, and we can all share the book. But since the governments to fund the wars went away from gold-backed and went to what they call greenback now, which is just a bunch of people deciding how much currency to print. The world's been, from a financial institution perspective, has been a mess. And then with technology that has obviously impacted us since really the mid-90s, what we've seen is synthetics on top of synthetics. And that's all coming out of centralization. That's not possible in decentralization. So if in decentralization, 1 equals 1. In centralization, 1 can equal up to 1 million. could even be more than that. So I think we really need to start educating ourselves as an industry on what centralization is actually doing to the financial industry as a whole. And once people start to understand this, is when people are truly going to start to understand why this industry is here to stay. Not only here to stay, but thriving. Now, people see Bitcoin reaching 60K and now down at 20 odd K at the moment, and think, okay, Bitcoin's done for. But if you look at any financial capital market, it's done the exact same thing, but it hasn't grown at the pace that Bitcoin and blockchain has grown at. So if anyone thinks that centralization in this industry is the way to go, they've completely lost why this industry actually exists, don't understand why this industry exists, haven't read Satoshi's white paper, and doesn't even understand why they're here. And those guys, I just put them in the moon boy basket. They simply want to spend $100 and then they're angry if they don't get $50,000 back next week. That's not what this industry is about, guys. But I think it's important to listen to people like Diego, who have been in this industry for many years, have that decentralized mindset. Because once you start to understand the mindset of guys like Diego and guys in this industry, you start to understand, where Glitch is actually going, what our goals are, and understand, like, we can say we're fighting for decentralization. GEC's going to be 100% decentralized, or decentralized as possible. But as Diego mentions, the tech's not even there. We're at the forefront of thinking to even be embarking on this venture for the GECs. But people think decentralization. I rarely have someone explain what decentralization actually means to me in a whole. It's always a bit pulled from here, a bit pulled from here. And I guess what I'm trying to say is be very careful in this industry on who you're following and who you're listening to. Because I'm off social media, and you guys would see it in the community. You do not hear from me all that much anymore, because I cannot fathom the stuff that's coming out of people's mouths sometimes. And that's in our community, that's on YouTube, that's on Twitter. And you've got these guys that have millions of followers that don't even have an idea of what they're talking about. They start talking about decentralization and they quickly move the conversation into centralization. And it's just, yeah. Sorry, I know I've just gone off on a tangent there, but it's something I'm quite passionate about. And I guess I'll revert back to the point of me stepping in, Diego. But Diego is very much, how would I say it? He believes in Glitch. He understands what we're trying to set out and to achieve, and is very pivotal in helping us achieve what we've set out to achieve. But people often ask me why I chose Diego as our CDO. And we interviewed, I think it was low 30s, 32 from memory, initial interviews with potential CTOs. And I chose Diego because I just clicked with him, and he clicked with Glitch. He understood what we were trying to achieve, and he gets decentralization and what blockchain and cryptocurrency is actually here for. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that, Diego. So please continue.
Okay, thanks, Sean. So I was born in a poor country. I mean, now is this. I mean, you cannot say third world country, but actually, I was born in a third world country. I mean, nowadays, it's not politically correct to say things as they are, but me as an engineer, I like to say things as they are. So the country I was born in, it's a third world country.
Just won the World Cup.
Yeah, but that doesn't, I mean, and all the people now forgets everything because it won the World Cup. That's how they feel. I mean, in Rome they used to say it was bread and circus. So that's how you keep people happy, right? You give them bread and circus. Nowadays is this country is soccer and free food, or not free but very cheap food, which is garbage and trash food if you are into that. But just to say how I came here, it's because I really experienced the pain. I mean, inflation when I was a kid. My mom and my dad used to work. I mean, you go to the supermarket. I was like, I don't know, 7-year-old or 8-year-old. You go in the morning at the supermarket, the price was 1 peso. And then you go in the afternoon and the price was like 3 pesos. Just like that. That's hyperinflation. Hyperinflation means there are a bunch of crooks, they call them politicians, who are running in the government and who are creating money out of thin air. And that happens only because there is the possibility of centralization. They have the centralized powers of doing whatever the heck they want with the money of the people. So when you experience that real time, like in front of you, it's very different than reading it from a book, than someone telling you, hey, this is what happened when you are in an ivory tower and some academics, they study this. It's completely different when you're born like that. When you're born like that and you really experience that, then you distrust, like it's a like second nature for you to distrust anything that is centralized, any kind of institution, be it the military, the government, the church, or whatever that is centralized is going to be corrupt, because that's what power does to people, right? So this is the philosophy behind why we at Glitch think that it's important to incept that concept. We are the glitch in the system. So the glitch starts very smallish. It's a very smallish glitch that you don't know what's going on, and then you start to go down into the rabbit hole. And that's what I really truly believe that. I mean, I truly believe that we are ready as the world, as the whole community of the world, not all the people, like I mean, all habits die very hard. So I mean, we've been centralized. I mean, we've been having centralized power for the last, I don't know how many years, 2,000 years. Well, more than that. The Roman Empire. So it was like 10,000 years, maybe something like that. So we think that's the way things should work, but they are not like they work. That's not at all how things should work. So our institutions are all centralized just because some random event or some evolution thing. And now we have, since 2009, thanks to Satoshi Nakamoto, we have all the tools that we need to get rid of this, to evolve to the next level. And I'm completely sure that we're going to do that. I mean, we are going to do that just because it's the most efficient way for humans and for we as the world to evolve. This is the most efficient way. There is no way that
It's an interesting concept. What blockchain can actually achieve, guys. So, for example, we vote in my country. I'm from Australia, and we vote our politicians into power, and then we have no control. Wouldn't it be fantastic if there was an open ledger blockchain which allowed the public to actually vote on every bill? Why do we vote one person into power and then for 4 years they can do whatever they please? Yes, they get some backlash in the media, et cetera, et cetera. There's a House of Representatives, but at the end of the day, it's still ultimately 50 people sitting in a room making decisions for 25 million people in Australia. Why couldn't we all have a vote? And why couldn't that be done on an open ledger on the blockchain and that's true. That would be a true democracy and true decentralization. And that's ultimately what we're going to bring to you with the GEX. Yes, you'll vote your chairman into power. Yes, you'll vote your treasury, your marketing lead, et cetera, et cetera. But any decision is still going to be able to be voted on by the community. So, for example, let's say Aram comes up with a marketing plan and puts it forth to the community. First, the board have to approve that, so that would be the chairman, treasury, and there'll be board members, etc. And then it goes to the community to be voted on. So if the community don't accept it and don't believe that it's worth it for the GEX, well, ultimately we look for another marketing proposal. So yeah, I just think it's important to touch on that, just with what you're saying, Diego. But Diego, if we could jump back into the tech, because if you and I keep going off on this tangent, this AMA is going to go for 4 or 5 hours. So
yeah. Sorry
Yes.
about that.
So going back to the
no,
roadmap,
it's my fault. So I apologize.
So
we
what I
love
was
to
saying
hear
is
it
that
though.
yeah. So we are working. So the last point I was making before I went into my digression is about the GEX and all the things that we are doing. That we are doing some proof of concepts internally to make sure that we know what kind of tech stack is ready for us to support our decentralization, right? So the GEX will be decentralized, but I need to make sure that the technology that we are using is completely stable because as Sean mentioned, we are in the forefront, we are in the cutting edge of everything and everything is not ready yet. But we hope that we will be like developing as soon as the tech is ready. We are going to be the first ones that we test it. If it works and is robust, we'll embrace it and then we move alongside parallel to the evolution of the decentralized stack of technology. So yeah, that was my last the last item that I want to mention about the GEX. So that's it. From the tech side, I think that's pretty much it for now.
And phase
Amazing.
4, 2023.
Of
Yeah,
course,
phase
yes.
2023.
I just
This is
wanted
the
the
year.
community hear you say it, Diego.
Phase 4 is coming in 2023. This is the year. This is the year.
Let's go. Let's go, guys.
Okay, and talking about 2023, I know Aram, we've been planning lots behind the scenes, and you've got some updates and some news to share with us around how things are looking from a marketing perspective this year and things along that line. So yeah, what are you excited about and what can we look forward to?
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. It's nice to be here, everyone. So let's talk a little bit about the high-level marketing things for Glitch in 2023. But before I get into that, I really wanted to touch on a couple of things that are new. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, we haven't shared any announcements or anything. We've just been making changes and updates in the background around the forefront of these things. But if you've noticed, recently on the Glitch Twitter page, we've got a little blue tick finally. So we're officially verified on there. And there's a lot of perks and benefits that we get for being verified, apart from just that little blue tick. Things like higher quality videos, longer video uptime, 1080p, and just a lot of things. A lot of cool features that will make us look a lot more, a lot cooler, basically, within the industry. So the second thing that I wanted to touch really quick is we've also been working on updating our CoinMarketCap, our CoinGecko, Live Coin Watch pages. So recently, the GitHub link was uploaded to the CoinMarketCap. We've got the Explorer on there as well. And we have some roadmap changes that are pending on the CoinMarketCap, because that's a little bit out to date. And then a couple of other changes that are also pending. So on there and on CoinGecko. So we're working on those things, but just wanted to quickly mention that in case you guys didn't notice. But besides that, let's talk about brand awareness a little bit in 2023. So as you know, phase 4 is going to be delivered this year in 2023. So on the back of each tech release, what marketing is planning is we are planning on launching and creating a strategic marketing campaign on the backs of every tech release as the core catalyst, the core attention-seeking deliverable in order for us to execute successful marketing campaigns. Now, granted, we've already started running more organic and lower cost marketing campaigns to start, but we're going to start ramping up things as the months progress and as tech starts to be, release all the things that they're working on as well. Basically, the initial campaigns that we're going to focus on are around education, developer interest, and user interest. And then as the year progresses, we'll start ramping things up into developer acquisition, user acquisition, and building out the ecosystem, such as activating existing partnerships and integrations, potentially forming new partnerships, use cases for the glitch token, adding the glitch token in different hot wallet providers, and just a whole lot of other things that help support the expansion of the ecosystem. But ultimately, all of our marketing campaigns will include a collection of PR, email marketing, and other growth hacking techniques to help generate buzz towards a large group of people, ultimately the community, you guys, and so that's how we are planning our marketing strategies. And ultimately we're being very careful of how we execute each plan because we want to make sure that we get the best ROI in terms of awareness, developer acquisition, user acquisition, so basically the goal for the initial campaigns is to educate users and bring traction to the chain while development and business development continue, right? Talking about partnerships, I had a lot of questions around partnerships this year and what we're going to do. Are we going to form new partnerships? Are we going to work on activating them? What's the initial plan? So initially, we are looking into growing the ecosystem and collaborating with other projects and forming those new partnerships. But ultimately, we really want to start focusing on activating these partnerships and integrations that we've already formed over the last 2 years. And that's kind of the priority, especially around smart contract, especially around liquidity, and especially around network security, and improving security around all of our products as well, right? So ultimately, we would have to sync with the tech to ensure when the best time to activate these things would be. And then we would roll out our marketing campaigns on the backs of these tech releases and then start integrating our existing partnerships and integrations. So basically, with each partnership and integration activation comes a cross-marketing campaign, right? So it's not just our marketing campaigns that we're running. With each, basically, we'll be running campaigns with our other partners. So how would this look like? Essentially, we would be doing cross-communication announcements. We would be doing cross-collaboration AMAs. There's potential for fireside chats that we're planning. We want to kick off Twitter Spaces. So there's a lot of things that we want to do from a solid planning and execution standpoint that we're planning on doing. And we're really looking forward to exploring those additional avenues and opportunities as tech also releases those things. And we want to talk more about things around glitch too. It's not necessarily just all about glitch, but it's also what is happening in the industry, right? So there's a lot of other things that we can do apart from this, and we can connect with it, other industry leaders and talk about these things. And there's a lot of panel opportunities that we are exploring. So there's a lot of potential for success on the marketing fronts here, and we're working towards succeeding in that.
Well, not just on the marketing, Aaron, but from a tech perspective as well.
Of course,
activating the partners like Polygon, Chainlink. These are guys that we're still going to work with and activate them as partners. But Chainlink, Polygon in particular have made a lot of headway. in the industry, Polygon in particular, Matic, whatever everyone's calling it these days. Not concerned with the name, more concerned with the tech and what they're doing. So really looking forward to reactivating those discussions, and now we are at where we're at, and we're in that phase 4 stage. We're able to now activate these partners and actually leverage each other's tech and grow together and whatnot. So it's important to understand that us going out, I could go out and release 50 new partners with 2 weeks work. Just talk to everyone within my network, and we'd have 50 new partners next week. But they're not going to mean anything, guys. If you look at the partners that we do have, they're purposeful based partners. Everything down to the likes of Bird Money, all the way up to the likes of Chainlink and Polygon. So look forward to that within 2023 as well, guys. The activation of these partners from not just that marketing perspective, but which more often than not is all most people care about, because that means more holders and an upward trend in price. But I'm more excited about the activation of the actual tech-based partnership.
Yeah. I'm also looking, or what's interesting is the security aspect of it. So it's important for us to start considering more or some additional partnerships around security. Having that focus, I think, around network security, or looking into as well collaborating with other existing partners around improving network security, I think is going to be really beneficial towards us. Now, granted, we already do have a partnership around security, but consistently working towards that type of direction and ensuring that we have a really secure network, really ensuring that we have secure products. And ensuring that the community is placing their trust behind the security of our products, I think is essential, and something that we have to take into consideration throughout the year, because there's been so many scams, there's been so many hacks, exploits out there, and the industry is really hurting. So if we are able to prioritize network and product security, I think that would be really beneficial. So it's something that we need to that we are considering, and something that we should take a little bit more seriously as well. So
definitely,
yeah. Going into some of the plans here around the GEX. I mean, Sean already talked about some GEX plans as well, but I can touch up on some of these processes that we're doing in terms of the GEX, in terms of the other tech deliverables like substrate pallet contracts, the native glitch that we're working on. So I'll run through some of these very high level plans that we're thinking about. Now, granted, they're not finalized, but I wanted to present it to everyone here so that everyone has an understanding of where we're at and what we're thinking about as we begin to activate these marketing campaigns and as we begin to roll out a lot of the tech. So starting with the GEX, Sean had mentioned that we do plan on launching a GEX token, and on the backs of that, completing GEX governance proposals and proposing them for the community. So ultimately, we want to hear your voice. And a little bit later this year, we'll start the process to launch several governance proposals or initial proposals, and you'll be able to use your native glitch tokens to vote on off-chain snapshot proposals, so that you can, and these proposals wouldn't initially be for the MVP. They would be proposals for iterations that go beyond the MVP, right? So the MVP basically means basic swap, add liquidity, and remove liquidity. That's the extent of the GEX MVP. I mean, granted, we're still talking about some features and whatnot, but ultimately, we want to get the GEX up and running at a basic fundamental level and then iterate on top of that. And so that's where some of the proposals will come into play. And we want to hear from you. Ultimately, we want the GEX to function as a DAO, from the first day, ultimately. And so that's what we're prioritizing. And so we're thinking of, and Diego, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but ultimately the process to release the GEX would be, we would have to launch it on a test net first, right? And then we would have to do some testing, and then that would in turn launch on the mainnet. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, sure. We always do on a testnet first, so then the whole community could engage and experience. We also test in parallel, and we can all, if the community want to test it, of course, they could test it. But testnet is the first deliverable that we're going to do for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So ultimately, there's a lot of other features that we're going to end up defining to add into the GEX, but we really want to just launch that at a fundamental level. Just for the interest of time, going beyond the GEX, I wanted to talk a little bit about, and there's just this blaring question of how will the launch of the substrate palette contracts on the native network look like, right? What's kind of like, or what is the theme? What is the team thinking of? How does that going to look like? Because that's one of the core questions that we've been receiving. So the way that I can answer that is, as tech is working on developing the native bridge, as they're working on building out the substrate palettes on the native glitch network, ultimately what we need to focus on are a few things, right? How are we going to be executing this migration process? What are the steps that we're going to put in place? And how are we going to initially incentivize people to migrate over and then want to trade that native token, right? So there's a few things that would have to be thought of initially in order for us to launch that. But ultimately, the incentive that we're thinking about doing in order for that process to take place would be, one, obviously, we would have to launch the glitch native contracts on the substrate palette. And in turn, two, we would be able to then, once that's able, to launch this staking campaign on the glitch website. So that's what we're thinking about doing, is launching a single contract or something like that on the glitch website, where people will be able to use the bridge and migrate over and then log their tokens up on the staking campaign. And then we're going to be able to begin the migration process after that, right? So ultimately, even though the bridge is in development on the roadmap breakdown, and you see that as the priority first, it doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to be immediately launched, because there's a process. In order to have a successful migration, you need to be able to launch a few things that we're able to in turn launch everything else that we're ideating, right? So ultimately, there's a process like that. Looking at my notes here, we can also talk around the decentralized exchanges and how that'll look like, right? So one question that I've been receiving as well is, how will the native glitch token trade on a decentralized exchange beyond the GEX without the GEX initially being available? So some of these things that we're thinking about, we're going to have to launch or a token wrapped, we're going to have to contact some of these exchanges, or we're going to have to think about uploading additional liquidity pairs around wrap tokens. So there's a lot of things that we're thinking about that's still in the planning process. But I wanted to start talking about and presenting some of these things. I think it's important for you guys to be aware about where we're at and what we're doing in terms of the planning process. And these things will be fleshed out over the weeks to come. So I know you guys have a lot of questions around this, but just know that these things are being ideated, and we're excited to activate and execute these things as we work towards that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot going on behind the scenes, and the roadmap breakdown covers, the main deliverables. But as you've been saying, there's lots of processes and other kind of mechanisms that need to be in play to ensure that the delivery of the products or the bridge migration process is as successful and smooth as it can be for everyone, the community that's going to be utilizing that. If you didn't have anything else to add on that side, I'd love to talk about some of the current and future opportunities for developers and users to get involved and contribute to our growth at the minute.
Yeah, go ahead. Take the stage.
Cool. So We were still accepting applications for the Glitch Mainnet Validator program. So getting involved with that is key to helping to contribute to the early decentralization of Glitch, support the security of the network, and it really gives you an opportunity to take part in being part of Glitch's history. So yeah, as Aram was saying, we've been talking about how we're going to flesh out these processes that are happening, and right now, one of the first stepping stones is to help decentralize the network. And so yeah, so we encourage you to check out the article on Medium that details the prerequisites. And yeah, you can apply through that as well. On that note, we are pleased to announce that we've got plans around expanding the Mainnet validator network. So the future goal is to increase the number of active community-operated validators and decrease the number that the Glitch team are operating, which allows for more community participation while we're still protecting the network. So the team will always operate 51% of the validators, which, as we were saying before, maintains the security and stability of the network and can mitigate the risk of inactivity or malicious actors. And then, so that expansion will be gradual with the addition of a new validator once per month. And then towards the end of the year, we're going to start looking at when community members can nominate validators, and as a nominator, you'll need to put your trust behind an active validator. So that means that with the proportion of community validators being there, you'll earn your trust, and then the community members will nominate you, and that's how the validation will work. So it's important to promote more community participation in the validation of the network. And if you're interested in participating, then please check out that Medium article. You'll find all the details, including the reward breakdown for the program, recommended hardware, and the other requirements. Another way for developers and users to get involved is through the Glitch docs, which we released in December. We released the first iteration, and if you haven't already, I suggest you go and visit docs.glitch.finance to take some time to digest the information that's been shared there. It's a great resource for developers who want to learn more about the underlying fundamentals of the network and to start exploring the requirements for building on Glitch in the future. And non-technical users can expand their knowledge and technical literacy too, and begin to understand more about how Glitch works. Over time, we're going to add more to the Glitch docs, so it's definitely worth a bookmark and to check back in the future as additional resources are added. Additionally, we have yes.
Yeah, just on that, guys. We're constantly asked questions within the community about everything that's actually publicly available to you. So if it is known, we will let you know. We are moving at a pace that is going to ensure our success and our, ultimately, you've heard me say it before, future-proof Glitch. So the information that we do have available and we are ready to release to you, we get out to you. We don't hold anything back. So please listen to Rebecca here. Now, I've just gone through the comments, and we've got 12 I love you, Rebeccas. One, Diego's the man, and one, Sean's handsome. So that means that everyone should be listening to Beck when she talks. Okay, so please bookmark these documents. Please read them. Please understand them, and then come to us with the questions from there. What I'm finding in the community, and it becomes quite difficult for Rebecca to actually manage this, and it becomes tiresome. The same questions being asked when if you actually just read the roadmap breakdown or just read some of this documentation that we do have available to you, you'd have your answer. So guys, please read what we have out there, the documentation, our communication. It's important for you guys to understand it, and it's important for us. And this is the big piece that I think that we're missing. If you read that documentation, you'd actually have relevant questions to actually help us make it even better for you. And that's what we're really missing, the community to really understand the documentation, what we're actually doing, and then help us grow, help us evolve. And we are a very agile team, guys. So we do take relevant feedback on, and we sincerely value it. So please read this documentation, guys, because it'll help you help us, and ultimately that means everybody wins. Sorry, Rebecca, I just needed to say that.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate, and just on what Sean was saying, then we pin lots of things in the Telegram channel as well. So, any recent article that we released, the docs, everything like that, updates to that will all be shared as an announcement and then pinned. So that's a valuable resource as well. But where I was before, we've also got the Glitch Advocate Program and then the Glitch Grants Program, which will be ramping up engagements around in the future. So you can read more about those on the website glitch.finance, and that will be expanded upon more as the year goes on. And then my favorite thing to talk about, you can also contribute daily by checking out the Glitch Guide to Global Expansion. It's a one-stop shop to help Glitch grow globally. And this week we've seen some great engagement from the community, and we can continue to work together to spread the word. Some of the key interactions on the guide are: follow us on Twitter at Glitch Protocol, join the Telegram group t.me/Glitch Protocol, join us on discord.glitch.finance, and of course subscribe to our channel on YouTube and like and share our content. I think that's all the socials. Now that we've talked a little bit about how developers and users can get involved and contribute, I think Avi would like to share some bits on reaching new regional markets and communities. Avi?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So we've touched base about how we're focusing on decentralization. And being a decentralized protocol, our primary objective is to reach out to users who are underserved and unbanked. Primarily people who don't have access to traditional finance, and we've broken down our segmentation into two markets. Our primary market is the UK, Europe, and Indonesia, of course, and the secondary market is India and other Southeast Asian countries where people do not have access to traditional finance. Now, how we're working on this is we're looking at collaborations with regional influencers. We're growing our global communities in these regions as well. So we plan on having creating a new chat for India, but this is going to primarily target devs, as there's serious technical talent in India. And another thing that we're going to be looking for and actively pushing for are advocates from these regions. So if you're from Indonesia, India, or any other Southeast Asian country, please do apply for our advocate program. We feel you'd be a good fit. And that's
Awesome.
basically how we're looking at these geographical questions.
Yeah, thank you, Avi. I'm really looking forward to expanding our community this year, and we're really excited to see where our journey is going to take us. As we come to the end of the panel section, Sean, do you have any final thoughts before we move on to some questions from the community?
No, I've been reading the questions. Actually, I always say no, but I always do. But I have been reading a lot of these questions, which I'm looking forward to jumping into. Fun thought, guys. I just got to bring this up again. The GEX, it is going to be insane, and a lot of these questions that we've been receiving for over a year now is when exchange listing. I just want the community to understand what it actually costs to list on an exchange. And yes, there is a lot of volume that comes through, but that is also, everyone looks at volume, and a lot of these centralized exchanges, it's fake volume. You see these projects that are not moving in price, yet they've got $400,000 of volume a day. And all that is so an exchange, I'm not going to say which exchange, but I am in discussions with the exchanges and have been over a sustained period of time. We've made the decision not to list on an exchange because it is quite a cumbersome process in order to go from our ERC 20 version to our native token. So I'm not looking until we are at the native token stage, which is quite soon, to activate one of these listings. But and in particular, exchange is charging us $1 million US just to list. And then we have to maintain let's just say that it's $500,000 of daily volume. Now, if we don't maintain that $500,000 of daily volume, we're delisted after a month and we don't receive a refund of the $1 million. So there's a bit of a kind of a master plan, you'd say, between Diego delivering the tech, the marketing team growing the marketing slowly. I know there's a lot of people, oh, where's marketing? Where's marketing? Guys, I have invested in many projects over the years, and the projects, there's a project in particular that marketed very heavily in the last 8 months, and they have not gained any traction out of it. So we've deliberately, just so you know, chose not to market in the last, since the market went truly bare. And that's a decision that we made, not just based on data, but based on knowledge of the heads that are at this table right now, of being in this industry for many years, having the experience that we do have. Back to what I was saying, guys, if I was you, and once you truly understand what the GEX is going to be, you're no longer going to be saying, when's the exchange listing? You're going to be saying, when can we use the GEX? When can we trade on GEX? And then it's going to be, when are we going to have this feature on GEX? And then it's going to be GEX, GEX, GEX. Start thinking decentralization, guys, because you've seen what happens. Because there's many people that said, "Oh, are we going to list on FTX?" We had many people pushing us to list on FTX. I had conversations with FTX. We were approved to list on FTX. Now, if I had listed on FTX, that would have just been another bunch of FUD for you guys to pollute the channels with. So guys, understand what decentralization means and start to understand, and you will start to understand how powerful this GEX will actually be. There we go. That was my fun thought for the wrap up before we hit these questions.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Just really quick here, Becca, wanted to add just really quick on the marketing, because I see a question here that perhaps we needed to provide a little bit more clarity around marketing. So when we say we've been putting off marketing, that's not necessarily the case. We've been really focusing on organic marketing and growth hacking strategies. So,
correct. Sorry, I stand corrected there, Aaron. Marketing engagements which cost tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. So we're going to be going back into that, but ultimately we were really doing a lot of organic content creation, a lot of organic PR pieces on our Medium. We've been doing really low cost PR, and looking to doing some ad campaigns pretty soon. But ultimately, when we're talking about organic marketing and organic growth hacking strategies, it's really connecting with external communities, building engagement, building awareness, jumping into the conversation, and then talking about all things glitch, right? But doing a lot more than that ultimately. But yeah, so I just wanted to provide some additional context and clarity around the things that we have been doing. But ultimately, the team has been doing a lot of planning for quite some time, and we're getting to that point where we're ready to execute and push really hard. So look out for a lot of really cool marketing activations and promotions that will come in the coming months alongside our tech releases.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, cool. Now let's move into some community questions. Fire away in the chat section. We will answer as many as we can, and we're already running out of time, but we will try and answer them as many as we can, and if not, we'll catch them over on our other social platforms. So, yeah.
Okay, first one, I'll jump in. We just had DJ Mainnet. Mainnet, if you take the time to actually read the documentation and understand what Mainnet is, we're actually at Mainnet. We're just in a phase of Mainnet. Phase 4, everything will be fine. Phase 4 will be finalized. Mainnet will be finalized this year, guys. Want to jump into another one? Shout out Joseph. Good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. Good to have you back and around. Joseph's quite a large holder, guys. Good guy. We've had our ups and downs, but good to see you back, Joseph. And yes, when Gex, start the trend. Again, I touched on the. Sorry, if you guys want to answer one, I'll just answer them all. So, if you guys want to answer him, have a quick read while I'm talking. Listing
Okay,
new big
I got
exchange,
a good
guys.
one.
Understand what that means. Go ahead, Beck.
When will there be another staking campaign? Aram, you touched on that earlier on. Did you want to go over it again?
Sure, why not? So another staking campaign. So in terms of the staking campaigns, just to be clear, there will not be another campaign on the ETH and BSC network. It won't happen because we're very close to executing our migration. All right. So ultimately, if we do launch another staking campaign, which is in the works, that campaign would be on the native glitch network. And it would be a campaign that would launch simultaneously with the migration process to initially incentivize people to migrate over and to lock their glitch tokens into that smart contract. Now, granted, we're still thinking about, is that contract going to be time locked or is it going to be unlocked, right? And once we get to understanding exactly and pinpoint exactly when we know that the revenue share will be available, ultimately, those things will be ideated and talked about and planned and changed. And so yeah, there's still some planning in the works, but just to answer your question, yes, there will be another staking campaign. When? That is a great question, but we're working on it right now. So.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and just another one on the GEX here. Will the GEX have an order book? If not, will you be able to add it? It's an interesting idea. I know we're talking about the future features and functionality for the GEX, but what's your opinion on that, Diego? Order books?
I can jump in on that, Diego. So it will be something that will be considered, and as we mentioned before, and Aaron touched on, we will be releasing an MVP with a swap feature, add liquidity. It'll be the basic of the basics, and then it'll be the community that if they want an order book will come. So that's what decentralization.
Granted, it would have to launch as a proposal. So ultimately, we want all of you guys to make the core, or not the, the core decisions ultimately, right? So these iterations or these things that we want to add that go beyond the MVP, what we're thinking about doing is, instead of just doing it, we want to just launch a proposal and get your voice heard, right? Is this something that you guys are really looking for? And if it is, then at that point, we can be more serious about the recommendation of that proposal. And then if it's voted upon, then we execute, right? But ultimately, these conversations would have to happen internally as well. Yeah.
Definitely, and it goes beyond just you want it comes. There's a whole process that has to be embarked upon, and I think one thing that's going to be fantastic about the GEX is it's going to really educate a community and the broader community. And this community I can see being astronomically large because of what we are embarking on. But it's going to educate everyone on the process that someone like Diego has to go through to even ideate and deliver an order book. What that actually means, how that's going to affect this, how it's going to affect that. I would foresee, if an order book was voted upon, there would be two versions of GEX. So you'd arrive at a home page and you'd have your traditional liquidity, as you'd have, very much how your Uniswaps, likes of Uniswap and PancakeSwap, work. And then you'd have your order book more towards how the centralized exchanges work, but within a decentralized platform. But these are things that you as a GEX holder will actually be able to vote on.
Yeah, perfect. And then another question around the GEX is, what are the benefits of having a GEX token over just using the nglitch token?
Aaron?
Yeah. So there's a lot of benefits for having a GEX token over a glitch token. Some of these things could include, well, ultimately having a GEX token allows us to do an initial raise, and then that raise that we're planning on doing, part of that will be added directly into the liquidity pool, right? So it creates and generates.
So there's a question just here, how we're going to encourage other projects and tokens to list on the GEX. So the GEX will be an open raise. It will be pretty much majority of the tokens will be available at the public sale. And when I say majority of the tokens, it's going to be there will not be a seed private sale. It'll all be available to public. But what's going to happen there, guys, is initially the raise, a percentage of what's raised. For example, let's just say that we only have a $1 million raise. And we've allocated 50% of that to liquidity. That'll go into the likes of your Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. But what we're going to actually be able to do is we're going to allow the community to vote on which tokens they want traded. And then we'll separate out the liquidity accordingly based on the community's vote. So that's how decentralized the GEX will be. Everything will be majority, if not all, of decisions once we're past that MVP stage will be made by you, the GEX holder. Sorry.
Brilliant. Yeah,
do you want to continue, Aaron?
Covers that. Yeah, Aaron, did you have any more to add?
Yeah, I mean, just things like being able to participate in different governance proposals and having your voice heard are also some benefits. But ultimately, that initial bulk of the liquidity is going to be really critical. Now, granted, there's other partnerships that we can activate to boost liquidity, which obviously you can. It's in the name, so you can guess which partnership that one would be. But ultimately, having a GEX token would really it's really going to streamline our process, and it's really going to make the launch of the GEX really, really beneficial. Now, there's a couple of things that we are also potentially thinking of that would be a benefit for you having a GEX token or the native glitch token, where we could offer bonus rewards, or we could offer the ability to lock up glitch tokens and receive X number of GEX tokens, or there's an option to also provide liquidity through LPing through the GEX and getting rewarded in either glitch or GEX tokens.
And that's very much a big one also, guys. The LP sides of things, and another big point is it validates a revenue sharing model in a big way.
Yeah. So ultimately, there are a lot of benefits over using a native GEX token over the native glitch token, and so yeah, those are just some of the examples.
I've got a great question that I've just found. Sorry to cut you off, Beck. I know you're moderating and running the call, but I'm pulling rank on this one. Kurt Kirosim, as a Chainlink node operator, how can I help the network? Kurt would love to receive an email from you. So if you could email myself, so Sean, you'll see my name in the title, SEAN @glitch.finance. Also CC Aram @glitch.finance into that email, and we'll have a discussion via email on how you can get involved and what that would look like.
Awesome. Yeah. Just a little bit more here.
Okay, I've got another one. Crypto Daddy. Sean, sorry, Beck, you keep looking while I do this one. Sean, can you consider re-imaging, rebranding Glitch For example, the website is so dark, it is a bit scary for people that are looking to put big money into Glitch. Okay, Crypto Daddy, if you can find me the big money guys and they contact me and there's enough big money, I'll rebrand and re-image Glitch for you. But what is big money? That's the question. The first question that we have to answer. Second point on that is it was mentioned a couple of times in the community, and we did put it out to the community and have a brief discussion about it, and it was quickly shut down. Reason it was shut down is because the branding of Glitch and the dark and anonymous feel to it is in line with the ideologies. So understanding the principle of who we are and what we stand for, putting a glitch in the network, and that network is the financial system, which I think people sometimes forget who we are and what we stand for. That's why Glitch is named Glitch, and that's why we look the way we do. But definitely willing to consider any proposal, well thought out proposal and structured proposal from anyone in regards to maybe not so much rebranding, but re-imaging Glitch. And happy to hear anyone out on that. Again, Sean at glitch.finance, please email me. Happy to have a discussion. Beck, back over to you.
Thank you. Just on the website, we've got a little bit of feedback here. Can the website have a light and dark button? What do you think about that? Maybe we could explore that.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
And then
and I
if
think
it's
that's
too
something
scary
we
for some
definitely should do.
people, they can use the
because
light
we don't
mode.
want to scare the big money away. So if it's as simple as a light and dark feature, and the big money is going to come in, more than happy.
And I think we've got time for one more question. I do see this come up a few times. We have touched on this quite a lot in the Telegram community, but maybe Diego can say it for us one more time. When are the technical tests scheduled with Kurtosis, and can you tell us more about the phase 4 rollout in terms of Kurtosis?
So as I mentioned before, I think in a couple of previous AMS, we have developed for the current phase. We have developed our own framework to do the stress tests. So that means that as of now, we do not need to engage with Kurtosis. It doesn't mean that we will not going to do it. It's just we have like limited resources to do what we have ahead of us. So I don't have a date to engage with Kurtosis because I don't even know if and when we're going to engage with them. So
and just on that, Diego, if
clear.
you could just quickly, just in 30 seconds, just explain to people that engaging Kurtosis is not as simple as, hey, Kurtosis, can you audit? It's a complete team that we need internally, an infrastructure that we need to set up internally in order for Kurtosis to even run.
Yeah, so just to be clear, what is Kurtosis? Because I think some of the people ask, engage with Kurtosis, but just to understand what it is, it's a framework that allows us to develop some tests in a programming language so that we can test different aspects of our blockchain. That is Kurtosis. So in order for us to engage with them and to start using that framework, we need to first install the infrastructure. That's not hard. I mean, that's easy, but we need some DevOps guy in our team to be focused on spin that up and maintain that. Not a big effort, but an effort nevertheless. But most importantly, we need an engineer, what it's called software development engineering test, SDET. That is the name, the industry name standard, which is, it's a mix, a blend between a QA and a developer. So it's a developer who also is a QA who needs to develop all the use cases, all the test cases, which are over 2,000. So we have 2,000 test cases now in a spreadsheet, and we need a developer, a software developer engineering test, which is a one full-time resource who needs to go go through the spreadsheet with those 2,000 test cases and start coding that in the programming language that Kurtosis understands, so that we can run. I'm not saying that we need to develop 2,000 test cases, because maybe with 300, 400 would be enough, but that's a very long engagement, and that's a my decision is, I prefer to use, since we have limited resources, I prefer to use those resources, the resource for that, to use it on actually developing phase 4 during 2023. Because if you haven't heard, guys, 2023 is the date we were going to deliver phase 4.
2023, guys, it's a big
Amazing.
year ahead.
Phase 4, 2023. All right.
Yeah.
That's what we have time for today. And thank you so much, Sean, Diego, Aram, and Avi, for joining us and sharing your insights. And a big thank you to everyone watching and for submitting your questions. I want to remind you to subscribe to our channel, like and share this AMA, and follow us on our socials, Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, and stay updated on future updates and discussions. We hope you found this session informative and enjoyable, and we look forward to connecting with you again soon. Keep an eye out for the recap, which we'll share again shortly. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, guys. It was nice to be here.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.